Introduction. Hello, dear friend. Today I want to tell you a special and moving story. This story is not only about mathematics or physics, it is about a boy who felt small in a big world. It is about a boy who was born poor, sickly and alone, but had a mind that wondered and explored. It is about Isaac Newton. You may know his name from school. But do you know the pain he felt? The moments of doubt and loneliness? In this story you will feel his heart, imagine his farmhouse, see the fallen apple, and follow his curious mind. You will learn that even the smallest person can change the world. So please, find a comfortable place, take a deep breath, and together we will travel into Isaac Newton's life, where light was born from shadows and questions led to discovery. 1. The early life and the world in a candle flame. Isaac Newton was born on December 25, 1642, in Woolsthorpe by Colsterworth, a small village in central England. It was winter. Snow blanketed the fields, and the wind made the bare trees dance in silence. Inside, in a simple wooden farmhouse, candlelight flickered in the night. Little Isaac was tiny. His family said he was so small and fragile that he might die within a few hours. They wrapped him in wool and prayed. His mother, Hannah, was only 24. Her husband, also Isaac Newton, had died 3 months earlier. She gave birth as a widow. Thus, Isaac started his life without his father's arms. This loss followed him. His mother remarried when he was 3 and left him in the care of his grandmother. She moved away to live with her new husband. Isaac looked through the window at his mother's silhouette, walking away. He did not understand why she had to leave him. He thought, "Does she not love me anymore?" Living with his grandmother, the old farmhouse was cold in winter and humid in summer. Sometimes little Isaac would wake up in the night crying, alone in the dark loft. His grandmother comforted him, but she was tired and not strong. Isaac learned to be quiet, to count the beams in the ceiling, and to stare at the stars through a small window. 2. The curious boy and his tinkering hands. From early childhood, Isaac showed a love for building things. He made small wooden windmills and toy carts powered by rubber bands. He carved little animals and built paper whiskers for them. He created a tiny water clock using a broken teacup and thread. Even as a boy, he wondered, how does time flow? He often wandered to the nearby river. On sunny afternoons, he would sit on a stone throwing pebbles and counting the ripples. He liked to study the sun's reflection on the water. He wondered why the sunlight turned into tiny dancing lights under the tree's shade. In school, Isaac's classmates viewed him as an outsider. He spoke rarely. He was focused, calm, and light-headed. Once, during a rough game, a boy hit him and mocked his quiet nature. Isaac felt a burning feeling within his chest, not fear, but resolve. That night, he lit a candle in a small chamber. He opened his arithmetic book and began to practice sums. Slowly, he solved problems others found difficult. He felt a new sense of pride. From that moment, Isaac decided, "I will not be mocked again. I will show them my value." 3. The struggle at Cambridge and the servant's life. When Isaac was 18, he received support from a local teacher, which allowed him to enter Trinity College, Cambridge. The dream came true, yet the price was heavy. He walked for many days carrying a bag of clothes and books. When he arrived at the grand building, filled with scholars and books, he felt small again. He had no money for food or clothes. To study, he became a sizar, a student who worked as a servant. He washed dishes in grand dining halls, polished wooden floors, and carried trays of food for wealthier students. He wore simple clothes and sometimes struggled to stay warm in freezing halls. Yet every free moment he read. He spent hours in candle-lit rooms reading works of Galileo, Kepler, and Descartes. He copied their diagrams on scraps of paper. When others socialized or danced after classes, Isaac quietly practiced geometry and algebra in his small desk. One cold December night, he stayed up late solving a difficult problem. When he found the solution, tears of relief and joy came to his eyes. He said softly, "Yes, I can do this. I am not less than anyone."
4. Return home, the plague, and quiet discoveries. In 1665, the bubonic plague swept through England. Cambridge closed its colleges. Isaac returned to Woolsthorpe farmhouse. Fear and sorrow filled the village. Doors were locked, bells tolled in distant churches, and the air was filled with silence and worry. Many people hid behind closed shutters. Isaac did not hide. He saw this isolation as an opportunity. He set up a table in the warm kitchen near the hearth. He laid out parchment, quills, ink and prisms. He touched books and tested light beams. At night, he slept little. One day, while walking in the garden, Isaac felt a deep calm. An apple tree stood near the back door. He leaned against its trunk and watched the green fruit shimmering in the sunlight. Then an apple fell. It made a soft thump on the grass. For everyone else, a falling apple is nothing special. But for Isaac, it was a spark. He stared at the apple. Questions surged. Why does it always fall downward? What force made it do so? And could that same force affect the moon and the stars? He carried his questions into his cabin and began experiments. He suspended pendulums, rolled balls down inclines, and measured time. Slowly, he discovered the essence of gravity. During those 2 years, he also developed calculus, discovered the spectrum of light with glass prisms, and built a reflecting telescope made of mirrors. He carved one mirror himself. He polished it at night in a barn. He held the mirror near candles, watching the glow spread and reflect. When the plague ended, Cambridge reopened, and Isaac returned as a changed man. 5. Publication and public recognition. Back in Cambridge, Isaac carried boxes filled with papers, diagrams, and calculations. He shared his ideas with professors and colleagues. One of his notebooks, later known as the Waste Book, contained his earliest investigations into motion and gravity. He met Edmund Halley, who encouraged him to publish his ideas. Halley offered to pay the printing costs. In 1687, Isaac finally published Philosophia Naturalis Principia Mathematica. It was a thick book, almost 500 pages long, filled with mathematical laws and geometric diagrams. Inside, he formulated the 3 laws of motion and universal gravitation. When the volume arrived, people flocked to libraries to read it. Scientists across Europe were amazed. Philosophers, astronomers, and mathematicians studied his work. They saw a new path to understanding the heavens and the earth. Isaac became a star. He was elected Fellow of the Royal Society. He received invitations to London. He served as Warden and later Master of the Royal Mint. He helped reform England's currency. He became wealthy and respected. In 1705, Queen Anne knighted him, Sir Isaac Newton. 6. Later life, legacy, and lessons. Sir Isaac Newton spent his later years receiving visitors, supporting scientific discussion and writing letters to young scholars. He never married and lived a simple life in London, his home full of books, papers, and polished telescopes. He said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." He meant that his work built on that of others, and he knew humility. He also wrote, "What we know is a drop, what we don't know is an ocean." He understood that even the greatest minds know little compared to the mysteries of the universe. Newton died in 1727 at age 84. King George I attended his funeral at Westminster Abbey. He was buried among kings and poets. His legacy lives on. Calculus, gravity, optics, and his laws of motion are still taught today. Engineers, astronomers, physicists, and even space travelers follow the path he opened. Final message to you. Isaac Newton was born poor, small, and lonely. He knew loss, rejection, and struggle. He worked in the shadows while others slept. He asked questions no one else dared to ask. And he never stopped learning. This story reminds us, even when life seems too dark, even when we feel too small, we can shine. We can be curious. We can ask why. We can build, discover, and change the world. So, dear listener, if you ever feel discouraged, think of the boy under the apple tree. Let his courage guide you. Let his curiosity inspire you. Thank you for listening. Please like this video if Isaac's story inspired you. Subscribe for more true stories in simple English. Keep dreaming, keep questioning, and never stop asking why.